For most people, moving to the other side of the world is a once-in-a-lifetime decision. But what if it didn't work out the first time? Would you be willing to leave everything behind and try again, especially if your partner doesn't share your dream? Azra Hussain has always dreamt of living down under, but his wife Saima is not so sure.
Seems like a bit of a waste of space to me.
I don't think I have a problem with cold and wet days.
It's inconvenient.
And he has 1 week to convince her.
You're comparing Blackburn, which is a town, to Sydney.
I've had enough of people thinking of themselves, and I'd like to think of myself.
The decision they make will change their lives forever. Many Brits seeking a new life abroad are drawn to Australia's sunny climate and stunning coastline. Almost 100 British people emigrate to Australia every day, but it doesn't always live up to the dream, and roughly a third return home. But that doesn't stop people from trying. The Hussain family have 1 week to sample life down under before they decide if their future lies in the UK or Australia. It's a long, long way from the life they know back in Lancashire. Crossing 3 continents and a distance of nearly 11,000 miles, the Hussains spend 20 hours in the air. Plenty of time to think about the huge change they could be making to their lives.
The trip was long, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was okay considering the 2 kids were with us.
But the journey has taken its toll on the children, and it's a long way from their home in Blackburn. Civil engineer Asra and his wife Saima are parents to Sina, 1.5, and Yushua, who's 6 months old. Asra has wanted to work abroad for years, and he and Saima almost made the move 4 years ago.
Isra was offered a job in New Zealand, in Auckland. We were very excited. We made the plunge and spent our own money on tickets to go out there. This was before we had children.
The job itself wasn't quite right for me. The Auckland area on the outskirts didn't really fit into what we thought life would be like in New Zealand, and that's why we decided not to go.
Since the New Zealand dream fell through, the Hussains have built themselves an ideal life in Blackburn. Even so, the idea of a better life abroad has always been on Asra's mind.
I'm an engineer, so the way it works is that you hope for the best and you plan for the worst. And that's what I'm doing. It's just seeing what other opportunities there are at the moment.
But Asra's outlook on life isn't completely shared by Saima.
I think Isra really wants to go. He's been going on about Australia for the past 3 years now, and before Australia it was New Zealand. So I feel like we need to just do it or not do it and put it to rest.
But although Saima is supportive of Asra, for her to leave Blackburn, Sydney will have to deliver.
I live in a lovely area in Blackburn. The house is perfect. It's an ideal family home. We live near all the facilities that we need, the gym, shopping, halal food, Asian delicatessens.
And it's this culture that's so important to her, which Sydney will need to provide.
Similar thing when we went to New Zealand, we were looking for a Muslim community there, and it was, shall we say, developing still. So, I mean, one way to look at it is that we could help develop that community like people like our parents have developed the community here in Blackburn.
Whilst Asra's sights are firmly set on a future down under, Saima would have to leave behind the only community that she's ever known.
When you're a Muslim, it's your whole life, so you need to encompass the Islamic lifestyle, and you need that by having other Muslims around you. For me, that would be extremely important, and I'd have serious issues if I wasn't able to find that kind of support network.
And finding the right setting is just one of the problems they could face.
I think anything we get in Australia would have to be a lot better than what we have here, and I think that would be difficult to achieve, but it would have to compensate for the fact that we are going to be leaving our families behind.
But I think it is possible. Otherwise we won't be taking this huge step.
Azra's belief that the Husseins can find a future in Australia is as strong as ever. But persuading Simon to share it, that could be the toughest challenge he will face all week in Oz. The Husseins want to find out if Sydney could be the right location for a new start. It offers all the perks of living in one of the world's great cities and is also home to Australia's largest Muslim population, so it should offer some familiar cultural surroundings. For the next week, their home will be in the beachside suburb of Dee Why, a popular area for young families with plenty of beaches, cafes and parks. This two-bedroom apartment is only a couple of minutes' walk to the beach and should give them a taste of Aussie living.
The view's nice, but it looks a bit dated.
A bit on the small side for our growing family.
The children look to have settled in, but for Simon and Asra, thoughts are already on the week ahead.
I think my main worry for whilst we're in Sydney is that we're going to see houses that we can't afford but we're going to really, really like. And our house in England is just going to look even more fantastic and never achievable in this country.
We're going to see what life is like in Sydney and we'll take it from there.
Back in Blackburn, the Husseins live in this four-bedroom semi-detached house, which is Simon's pride and joy. They believe it's worth around £280,000, and in total they could have a budget of £300,000 to spend on an Australian property. But if Simon is to be persuaded to move, there are a few important features her new home must include.
It's like our dream home. It's what we've always wanted to have for a family. So we would be looking for something similar in Sydney.
Really, ideally, want to lift this house up and put it somewhere in a nice suburb in Sydney, but with a pool. But it's whether that's actually going to be achievable or not.
We'll give the Husseins a taste of Sydney's housing market. We'll show them three choices based upon what they want from their ideal home, what they can afford, and the real cost of property down under. After seeing for themselves what's on offer, we'll reveal the price of each house. The Husseins are starting their search not far from their base, in the suburb of Dee Why. It's a family area with a great beach. It also has a strong multicultural community, so they should find the Muslim culture they enjoy in Blackburn. This three-bedroom garden apartment is just a stone's throw from the water and could offer the Husseins a starter home in Australia. But will it deliver on their requirements?
He's got it. Looks nice.
Looks very white and clean.
Looks small.
It's compact.
Mixed first impressions. Maybe the bedrooms will provide all the space they need.
Can't really tell what kind of a bedroom this would make.
A fairly small one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's okay.
That's the dressing area. And over there we've got the bathroom.
Yeah. The bedroom's a good size, but the bathroom isn't. I wouldn't want a bathroom that small for an ensuite. And that little nook there doesn't make up for it either.
With just the third bedroom left to inspect, can it convince Simon that this is the home for them?
It's a good sized bedroom, I think.
It's a good sized bedroom, but you can hear everything going on outside.
She's not looking convinced.
It's an ideal starter, but where we are at the moment, we need something a little bit bigger.
This apartment isn't what they want or need, and they haven't even seen the price yet.
Come on then, let's have a look.
£400,000.
£400,000.
you seem to be paying a premium for living closer to the beach here. So it's probably about the right price.
It might be the right price for what it is, but it's not a price I think we'd be willing to pay for what it is.
No, we wouldn't be buying an apartment, would we?
No.
We would be looking for a house.
For a house.
A minimum 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
Which this is, but we need it in a house.
So on to the second property. It's going to have to offer a lot more if Simon is going to consider a move. It's in the desirable district of Cromer on the northern edge of the city. It's a family area with beaches and shops close to hand. And with its own multicultural community, it should suit the Hussains' needs. With 4 bedrooms, this house is a similar size to their Blackburn home. And with potential to make it into the house they really want, could it win Simon over?
Ooh, this living room. It's an okay sized living room.
I'm never sure about brickwork inside though. Looks like a decent size.
Nice kitchen.
Yeah, okay,
Need
it's
a
an
kitchen down there.
alright sized kitchen. It's still very ugly. I'm just thinking the price will have to reflect the amount of work that needs doing to this.
Oh dear, with such a lot of work to be done, it looks like this property could be out of the running.
Downstairs.
Alright on an Asian wedding card, that wallpaper.
Yeah. Does Stella want this as her bedroom?
No,
Or shall we have it as Joshua's bedroom?
this for bedroom.
But again, it needs decorating. So, a lot of work by the looks of it.
She really is a tough customer. This house is huge and has massive potential, but the DIY has put them off. Can the price make up for it?
Right, this one's going to have to be a lot cheaper. £537,000.
That's a lot of money for what this property is.
Yeah, this
In-
needs way too much work to
on
it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to pay that. I think it's going to be difficult for me because I'm going to always compare to the house that we've got in Blackburn, and that's my ideal home. It's absolutely perfect. I can see the family growing up there, and everything about that area is just right for us as a family, and that's what I'm looking for here, and I haven't found that yet.
This house has only confirmed their worst fears of Sydney's prices, and a move looks further away than ever. The next house needs to deliver all Simon could want and Asra really needs. It's just around the corner from the last. This 2-storey family home is still close to the beach and it's in a quiet location. But with such high standards to meet, can it impress? Having dropped the children off with a childminder, Asra and Simon take a look around the house.
Looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A promising start, so it's on to check out the rest of the house.
Kitchen's a bit small.
Got everything that you probably need in a kitchen.
Oops, spoke too soon.
This is nice. I
So-
like all the glass. I like being able to see in and out.
And you've got the area where you can have the food outside. I think we probably would have wanted a bit more grass, but I guess that's taken up by the pool.
That's a good size pool, that.
So I'm sure that'll make up for it.
Asra's positivity may be rubbing off on Simon. Will she like the downstairs master ensuite?
I wouldn't want to be coming up and down steps, though.
It's not that many steps, really.
It's inconvenient.
Maybe that was a step too far.
Don't know how I feel about a bedroom downstairs.
No, it's a good sized bedroom, but yeah, it's.
It seems a bit small to me.
Do you think?
Yeah.
It's got an ensuite and a walk-in wardrobe.
Bathroom's tiny as well.
The master ensuite hasn't impressed, and with just the upstairs left to check out, things aren't looking good for Asra's dream.
It's okay. Seems like a bit of a waste of space to me.
With 2 further bedrooms upstairs, there's plenty of room for the whole family.
Vincent's is a little bit bigger.
Bigger. But it's a decent sized room. Bathroom looks small.
Nothing special.
Small, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can never have enough.
bathrooms, and I don't really think I like any of them.
Not impressed with the bathrooms, so it's outside to check out the balcony. But is it enough to make a difference?
It looks like a nice neighbourhood.
So where you'll be happy to see the kids sort of play on the street and not really be that worried.
Yeah.
Well, you can't fault him for trying. This house has plenty to offer, but it still hasn't come close to Sima's Blackburn home. Could its price change her mind?
577,860,000 Australian dollars. Pleasantly surprised.
This is double the price of our house, and I don't know whether I'm getting double the money.
But but you're comparing Blackburn, which is a town, to Sydney, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It's good value for what Australia's got to, or Sydney's got to offer.
I think I'll have to compare it to a few more houses before I'm convinced, Asra.
Asra clearly has a mountain to climb if he's ever going to get his family down under. They've seen 3 different properties today. The first house certainly offered them the stylish interiors Sima wanted, but was far too small. The second needed too much work, and even Asra didn't like it. Finally, house number 3 had a great pool and big living space, but it came with a high price tag. The Sydney property market has failed to deliver for Sima, who's still hankering after her Blackburn home. But do the rest of the family share her feelings?
We've seen 3 properties today. It's been interesting, but it's time to vote now. UK.
UK. UK. UK.
Why have you chosen Australia?
Because it's the lifestyle that we want. We know that Sydney's going to be more expensive than Blackburn, but I think we can afford it. So why did you vote UK?
Because I love the house that we've got already. I like everything about the area where we live, and none of the houses here have compared to that. And my main concern is, even if we did find a house that matched the one that we've got, we're not going to be able to afford the lifestyle that we've got. And we'll find out better about that in the next day or 2.
Property in Sydney failed to convince Sima that uprooting their lives would be worth it. And Asra faces an uphill struggle if he's to persuade her that the move could work. But to afford the kind of life they love at home, Sydney will need to provide good work prospects and salaries to match. Back in Blackburn, Asra works as a civil engineer for the highways industry and earns around £39,000 a year. He hopes that the engineering industry in Australia will provide more security for him and his family. And if the family were to follow through with the dream, Sima would have to earn too. Although she currently works as a support worker, she has legal training that could help her secure a job in Australia. Leaving the children with a childminder, the Hussains are heading out for a day's work experience in the city. A lot is riding on today, and for Asra, it's not just about impressing his potential employer.
I think I can change Sima's view on moving to Australia, but I think today is going to be key both for myself and for Sima when she does her work placement as well.
I think whilst we were out viewing houses yesterday, it was easy for me to find negative comments about each one of the properties, because I just felt that this is out of our reach, it's too expensive.
Simon's wanting to maintain the lifestyle that we've got, and I think she was it just took her for 6 that she couldn't achieve that necessarily within Sydney.
The thing that's going to persuade me is the job market and whether they can pay us enough to live in houses and afford the lifestyle in Australia, or at least the lifestyle that we're accustomed to.
Asra is spending the morning with one of Australia's leading construction companies, and he's arranged to meet manager Stuart Jameson Pate, who may be able to offer him some advice.
I've got a few people that I've got teed up to meet you today, and I just want to take you for a quick wander around our office, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks.
As Asra finds out more about Aussie engineering, Simon's meeting co-partner Fiona Reid at a specialist family law firm to see whether there is a demand for her skills.
So Fiona, for me, I'd be trying to get into certain aspects of family law, mostly to do with separation and to do with contact orders with the social services for children.
Right.
Is there much of a call for that kind of work here?
Yeah, the children's court work that you're describing is a very specialist jurisdiction, and there's certainly a call for good solicitors to do that type of work, and the experience you have is going to be really valuable.
That's good for Saima. How about Azra?
Do you think someone with my experience would be someone that you would be interested in?
Absolutely. We were really excited to see your CV. What you bring is not necessarily commonplace over here, so your set of skills is definitely required in Australia at the moment.
No, good, thank you.
It's a very positive start for both of them. But the move to Australia will be short-lived if their salaries can't fund the life they want.
You would be coming in at graduate level, so your salary, if you're out in the suburbs, is likely to be a starting salary of somewhere around $45,000 maybe, and the range really would be anything from between $45,000 to $95,000 as you go through associate level, and then into the hundreds and above once you're a senior associate and partner level.
Right, I mean, even as a graduate, that sounds really positive and a lot more than you'd earn as a graduate in the UK.
So if Saima was to move back into law, she could earn up to £12,000 a year more than in the UK. But as the family's main wage earner, are Azra's prospects as good?
I just want to get an idea of what someone of my experience could get in terms of a salary range.
We're looking at somewhere within sort of $125,000 to $135,000. So that's kind of the number I have in my mind at the moment.
Okay.
And
not only are his skills in demand in Australia, but he could earn over double his UK salary. What a result. After a day's work experience, they meet up with the rest of the family to chat things through.
You okay? Having fun? You okay, Sam?
Hello, Daddy.
You alright? So, Sam, so you've just come back from your job interview. How was that?
Yeah, well, it made me feel that, okay, if we did come out here, there's prospects for me as well.
Yes, so really positive then.
Yeah, really good experience today. We really need to find out how it went with you, don't we?
Oh, it was awful. Oh, it was awful. No, it was brilliant. It was really, really positive. They thought someone of my skill and my experience would be looking to get between 125,000 and 135,000 Australian dollars, which is nearly double my current salary.
Wow.
So with that, it was like, yeah, where do you want me to sign almost?
Clearly, Azra is on cloud 9 about the life they could afford. But does Saima share his excitement?
That's really good news, but I almost feel like, what are you going to say now?
We've seen the houses yesterday, and it was almost like a done deal, and that we would be packing our bags up after the weekend, going home and saying, yep, here we are in England and we're going to enjoy it. And yeah, and today it seems like it's back on track again.
Well, we've got a bit more thinking to do now, haven't we? Well, it's been a really interesting day today. We've both had some positive work experiences, and it's time to vote UK or Australia. Australia!
Australia. You voted Australia. Why did you vote Australia for?
Because on a purely job aspect, I think the opportunity for me to earn more money and become a solicitor are a lot more easier here than they would be in the UK. And what about you? How come you've decided to vote for Australia again?
Because I think the salary gives us the opportunity to work and live in Australia, and I think that's what we really wanted. Therefore, that's why it's Australia.
Seeing such a large potential boost in earnings has won Saima over just a bit to Azra's dream. But leaving behind the home they both love will be a tough call unless they can get a good price for it. We've sent 2 local estate agents around to their Blackburn home to give us their opinion on its value. They need to raise £280,000 to consider selling it.
Nice big, bright breakfast kitchen, integrated appliances.
Mummy's.
Yes, Mummy's kitchen, that one, isn't it?
Mummy's kitchen, that one.
Yeah.
It's a very good sized dining area with a lovely lounge, through lounge.
Good size room. Good size room. Obviously it's for a kiddie at the moment.
Very good sized master bedroom with great beach wall to ceiling cupboards. Great asset to the family house.
Good size, well presented, and I would advise the vendor to market the property at around 280. If they're looking for a quick sale, I would advise them to consider anything from 265 upwards.
It's a lovely modern 4 double bedroom detached property, very exclusive, and I would value this property in today's market at £285,000 with a quick sale of £275,000.
That's what we'd expect.
Yeah.
Mummy.
We're happy with that.
Property values that the estate agents gave us was what we'd expect.
So we're relieved, really, that we got that price.
But their house is only part of the financial package. We've prepared a breakdown of their costs of living in Australia, and based on their calculations, they'll find out if they can afford to live in Sydney.
Right, here's our shopping list.
Well, that's coming out at £51.41p. This shows us that we're going to be spending about £20 more on our shopping in Australia compared to what we do in the UK.
Yeah.
So, taking all their expenses into consideration, will the Hussain's annual living costs be greater in the UK or Australia?
That's a total of £65,772.
That's about 25 grand dearer.
26,000. It's
26,000.
nearly £27,000 dearer. More expensive to live out in Australia. That's only the top half of it. Now let's look at what we're actually going to be earning. Our combined income is just over £60,000 in the UK at the moment, whereas we could be looking at £131,000 in Australia. We should be a lot better off.
Well, let's just tally it up and have a look.
Okay.
With daily expenses nearly double that of the UK, can their joint salaries make up for this huge difference?
Right, so the Australian figure minus the UK figure, we're
looking at a £41,500 difference between the two figures.
right, so we'd be £41,000 better off in Australia.
It almost sounds too good to be true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at it in black and white, it's hard to justify why you'd want to stay in the UK when you can have everything that you can have in Sydney and much, much more.
And be able to afford it.
Yeah.
And save, potentially.
And you've got children who are going to benefit from that.
So are you going to tell my mother or should I?
Son, I can.
Yeah. Grandma.
Bye-bye.
The figures are clear. Despite Sydney's higher living costs, the Hussains would be much better off financially by living down under. Is Saima going to vote with her head or her heart?
We've just done the reality check. It was interesting and eye-opening at the same time, but now it's time to vote. Australia. So why did you vote Australia?
Well, the figures do stack in favour of Australia, that as a family we'd have a much better lifestyle here. We could afford everything that we can in the UK and a lot more.
Yeah, I mean the figures just speak for themselves.
Seeing the figures in black and white has convinced both Asra and Saima they can afford the life they want in Sydney. But with 2 small children, it's vital they find a lifestyle that will be just as rewarding. So, to give them a taste of what Sydney has to offer, the Hussains are setting off for a day out at the local aquarium. The whole family have the opportunity to get up close to some of Australia's most dramatic sea life.
Look at them. Look at that big stingray, or whatever it is. And there's a big fishy there.
Oh, look, turtle!
What are they waiting for?
Dinner time for the fishies.
Oh, can you see that man?
Let's have a look at the other fishies.
So this is our reef pool, and in our reef pool we have lots of different fish and they're having their breakfast. Would you like to put some flaking for the fishies? Oh, Nearly!
Oh, yeah.
Wow! They're saying thank you very much.
Oh, wow. We had a lovely time this morning. But I can't help thinking to myself, well, we have a lovely time as a family wherever we go. So I don't think I've seen anything that exceptional that makes me think that as a family unit there's something more special here.
But if you match that up, the fact that you've got Ocean World there, you've got beach right next to it, and we're in winter and it's 24 degrees.
I don't think the weather is going to pull it for me. Or no.
It looks like Simon's doubts are back.
There's more things that a family need than sunshine and days out. And one of those things for me is an Islamic community and an Islamic environment. And I think I've got some issues with what the children are going to get here. I think they'd get a lot more of an Islamic upbringing in the UK than they would here. And that's a concern.
Yeah, but that took time to grow, didn't it, in the UK? It didn't happen overnight. We're the second generation, therefore we're enjoying the fruit of our parents' labour, so to speak, whereas they're still going through that transition. Or do you want it all ready for you?
Yeah, that's how it's always been. We go to work anytime we want to go to the mosque and take advantage of a class or having a study group. We can just attend, we don't have to develop it or make it.
I do share that concern with you, but I think it's started to cast doubt over other factors.
Yeah, but I mean, they're very real concerns. We've got 2 children to raise, you know, we want them to be good Muslims, then they need to have what we had.
I think we can help in develop that learning here.
Simon's worries about her family's upbringing have cast a cloud over their day out. How will it affect her vote?
Yeah, we've just done our lifestyle activity today. It's been lots of fun, but now it's time to vote. Australia. So why did you vote for UK?
Because I think as a child growing up there, I had some fantastic experiences. As a Muslim, being brought up there and being there now, and I know I'm accepted. I know where I can go to for support, where I can go for further learning, and I need to be able to provide that for the kids.
I think we can, over time, we can create something similar here, and the children will be able to benefit. But I think it's something that we need to just have a greater think about. But I think I can convince you. Obviously not.
UK!
Simon's concerns are serious and could hinder the entire move. So the family are visiting a local mosque where Asra can find out about the facilities they offer.
Where we come from in Blackburn, there's normally teaching for the children 5 days a week. Do you guys have something similar here in
Yes.
Sydney?
In this mosque, yes.
Yeah, so do you do it on evening after schools, or is it on the weekend, or?
Just depend. Like in the summertime, we do it earlier.
Right.
In the winter time, we do it from Maghrib until Isha.
So how big is the Muslim community within sort of this area in DY?
Compared with other communities, it's not that big. It comes number 4 or 5 among the other communities.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but it is very effective. It is well known around the area.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Has the trip to DY Mosque helped Asra decide whether they would be able to bring up their children according to their wishes in Australia?
I think the Islamic element of it, the prayers side of it, I certainly think that Australia will be able to fulfil that. I think the difficulty is when it comes to the teaching, because there might be a language difference unless it's done in English. there may be a difficulty that we wouldn't really face in the UK that we might here. Simon's reaction isn't really surprising. I think it's the concern that I've also got. I think she just expresses it slightly better than I do. She's always maintained that we're doing it for the family. And that's me, her and the 2 kids, and therefore we want to make sure that it's right for all 4 of us.
Sima's worries about her children's upbringing have left her with big doubts over the move and reminded her of everything she'd be leaving behind. So could seeing messages from friends and family be the deciding factor? As there are messages for all the family, the Hussains have decided to watch it together, although Yushra may have more important things on his mind.
Hello Simon, Asrar.
Assalamualaikum Sama, Isra, Sana, Yeshua, all of you.
Hi Isra, Sama, Sana and Yeshua. I think the main qualities, obviously, he's a very nice person. He's a brother. He's somebody who always looks out for the family. Very kind, very caring. And obviously, if he's not going to be about, that'll be something we'll miss quite a lot, really.
If you do decide to stay, then, you know, we can still chat over the internet or phone calls or whatever, and I'm sure you'll be back often enough, and we'll probably be sending you back when you do come, so I hope it goes well, and just obviously give it some good consideration.
I came here for my children and my husband and for my family, making the life better. You going there, because your family making more life better.
Obviously, because of the distance, obviously she'll feel the loss quite a lot. She's 63 now. And she feels, obviously with an illness, you don't know how long you've got left in this life. So whatever chance you can spend with your kids and your kids with the parents would be nice.
Well, it doesn't matter if one's missing, 2 missing. If we all aren't together, it's not the same. And I think the kids would really miss out, like Rehan and Yeshua. Rehan would miss Yeshua, and Maya's always asking for Sana, so I think you should stay.
I think Mum especially misses you, because obviously she hasn't seen you for a while.
Still, I love you.
So really, from us guys here, we miss you loads. But obviously, what you need to obviously think long and hard and make obviously the best decisions of yourselves. We'll always miss you, and obviously we'll always try to support you best we can. See ya.
It's pretty much as what I expected our families to say.
What's that, Mummy?
They know that we've got to make the choice, and to know the reasons why we're trying to make the choice, but they're obviously also worried that if we do decide to go, that it's going to be a big change for them as well as for ourselves.
Well, yeah, I could feel that as well. I could feel that they were thinking of us, but they were thinking of themselves as well. If I have to do something that's more beneficial for my family, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to worry about who I'm leaving behind or how they're going to feel. That's not a concern to me.
That's not, whilst it's a consideration, it's not a deciding factor.
No.
Seeing messages has reinforced just how much the future of their family matters to Sima and Azra. But where will they decide to spend it? After a week of real highs and lows, it's time for the Hussains to make their final decision.
My opinion all the way through, in my view, has really been slightly different to Sima's. I think she's been looking back at what we've got in the UK. I'm almost looking at what we can actually achieve here in Sydney.
I know there's no comparing Blackburn to Sydney. I do know that. But I just couldn't equate to how houses could be so much more expensive. So I thought this is an impossible dream.
I think the reality check gave her that figure at the end, which meant that she was a lot more confident in what we were actually going to be doing here in Sydney and what we were able to achieve.
I said to Ishar afterwards, I felt like I was having palpitations. My heart was just really beating because I thought, oh, blooming heck, we're really going to have to make a serious decision now.
Do we really want to live in Sydney, and is that a lifestyle that we want to choose for ourselves and, more importantly, for our children?
It's been a really amazing week this week in Australia. We've had some fantastic experiences with a few ups and downs, but now it's time to vote. Undecided.
You're undecided?
I'm undecided because even though I know we can make it work now, having all the finances sorted out, and knowing that the housing is affordable as well, I'm just still a little bit concerned about how this might strain on our family life and just the change. I think if it isn't broke, then maybe we don't really need to try and fix it. And you've gone Australia.
As the week went on, we found that we could live here and afford to live here and still maintain the lifestyle that we've got in the UK, if not better it. I know you've got some concerns over whether we've got the community base here or not, but I think we can find that within Sydney, not necessarily in the area that we've been here this week, but within Sydney I think we can find it.
Despite the promise of better incomes and Asra's best efforts to win her round, Sima still needed convincing before she was ready to leave behind her life in Blackburn. They've been home for nearly 2 months now, so I've come to find out, has anything changed for the Hussains?
So Sima, how did you find the whole Australian experience?
It was fantastic, and I do worry that I probably come across as a little cold because I am that pragmatic, and I do have to be objectionable about whether, it's going to be a good experience, a bad experience, whether we can afford it, whether the lifestyle is for us, what we're giving up here.
Blackburn is holding you back, isn't it? Because you're happy here.
Who'd have ever thought?
But you are.
Yeah.
And you're honest.
Yeah.
So Sima is dead set on the UK, but what about Asra?
I'm still in the same boat. I was in Australia, still living the dream. But I think if we do get a job offer in the future, then we'll be seriously considering it, especially when you put into the other factors like the good weather, the good life that we did experience there.
Yeah.
That you can't ignore them.
So if that huge job did come your way, would you be happy, do you think, to make the move?
It's difficult for me to definitely say yes it is. With my logical head on, I think definitely yes it is. But overall, having lived the life that I've lived here and been completely satisfied, I really don't feel that I need to go to Australia for anything more.
Yeah.
And for me, there would be no regrets if we stayed here. But I think if a fantastic offer came for Isra and we didn't take it, then there'd be massive regrets on his part.
Well, I really hope that it all works out, that perhaps that job offer does come in. I'm not quite sure if I came back in a year's time whether you'd be here or not.
You're right. I'm absolutely not sure either where would be Nikki.
Is it going to be Blackburn? Is it going to be Sydney? Or is it going to be something else? We're just going to have to wait and see, aren't we?
But I'm sure wherever we'll be happy. And that's the main thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's for sure.
So Asra's still keen to consider a new life down under for his family if the right job opportunity came along. For Sima, she loves her life back here in the UK, but would support her husband if it was the perfect job. For now, they're very happy with their life here in Blackburn.
Tonight, on the wings of giant petrels, see Machu Picchu and Rio as you've never seen them before. Earthlight is at 8 o'clock. Well, next this morning on BBC One, a 50s townhouse and a stone cottage in the woods come under the hammer.